Mike Trigg.
Saba Baptiste.
We're with the podcast, No Losses, Just Lessons.
Yes, we're here today to make sure we give you a comprehensive view on the topics called faith, family dynamics, and relationships. And we're going to start it off. This is our third podcast, so we're going to start it off with some data. We want to just talk about the black family for a while here. Most of it's about black families. So a study, you can Google David T. Elwood and Jonathan Crane, and they have a 1990 study. It's important to try to follow the trend. So we're going to talk about the first stats I give is going to be 1960, 1970, 1980, and 1988. Okay? So first topic, percent of black women 15 to 44 married, spouse, present in the household. 1960 was 51.4, 1970, 44.4, 1980, 31.2, and 1988, 29.1.
Now, Saba, when you shared that with me earlier, that was baffling to me because I could have swore that in 1960 we would have been the 70th percentile. That's what I thought, because I feel like my grandparents did it right. And when I heard that 51%, I was like, wow, you come on, ma'am. You come. Okay.
Well, one of the things we got to keep in perspective is that around 1960 and before, a lot of marriages, people came together and it wasn't legalized marriage. And then if we think about from 1950 on up, they started recording a lot of black marriages. And so I'm going to say that this is the people they surveyed who was actually legally married in the household.
Right.
Okay, so, and this probably came about in court documents. Okay?
Right.
And I agree the number would be higher.
Yeah, because I clearly remember my Uncle Frank marrying my Uncle Pee Wee and my Auntie Queen. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's in documents, but they were married.
Right.
So.
They stayed together in the same household.
Yeah,
yes.
Definitely.
Okay.
So I think sometimes these studies, they don't really give a true reflection of what we're studying. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And this study is based on who wants to participate, right? And who wants to support and give the data. And so they surveyed a lot of people, and just think 1960 was 51.4%, and by the time we got to 1988, it was 29.1%. Were married spouse present in the female household.
Wow, that's baffling.
Yes.
What do you think it is today?
Well, if they say it's probably have stayed steady because they say 73% of black households are single parents.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay, so it has stayed steady.
Okay.
Yes, and so another statistic. Present of the black men 15 to 44, married spouse present in the household. And so we doing 4 years,
Right
1960,
that's fine, that's good.
1970, 1980, and 1988. So black male 15 to 44, married spouse present. 1960, 47.7%. 1970, 42.2%, 1980, 33.1%, and 1988, 30.9%.
So the last 1980 and 1988, we're upper.
You kind of flat, but yeah. So you kind of topple out on 31%. Right. So that's with the two spouse households, okay? Mm-hmm. So you have anything you want to say about that? Does that seem right? Do you have a lot of friends that's married, live with their wives?
No, I don't. It's probably split.
Okay.
But growing up, it was single parents. I didn't realize that the married household till I got to Fort Valley State. When I
Okay.
went to Fort Valley State, that's when I realized the Cosby Show was just not a TV show. It was people that prepared for their children that way.
Okay.
And they
Okay.
sent them to school like that. So Fort Valley State was an eye opener. I'm like, damn, what I'm saying? People really come from two-parent households because all my life I just thought, I had my aunts and uncles were married. But for the most part, my friends and we were from a single-parent household.
Right. So would it be safe to say until you went to college that was normal to have a single parent household?
Definitely.
Okay. So that number, the latest data shows that percentage, 31 to 35%, still holds.
Wow.
Yeah. So another statistic I like to add. Percent of black children living with married parents. Okay, and we're going to do the 4 years again. Okay, 1960, 67%, 1970, 58.5%, 1980, 42.2%, and 1988, 38.6%.
Okay, so when I think about that I can believe that for my family because in like 1960, my parents were born in '54, so my grandparents was married.
Okay.
So it's still that's a high percentage, 67,
Right.
but then they start to decline.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Across the years, longitudinally, the study, yes.
So I look at it like right here. So 1960, those are my grandparents being parents. 1980, that's my dad and them being parents. They were absent.
Right.
So 1988, and it goes on to, and you do 98.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's me being a parent. I became a parent in 96.
Well, look at it. If they say close to 73% of children born in a single parent household.
Yeah. Because I wasn't, when I had my kids, I was not married. I was married in 2002 when I had Mike.
Yeah, so we're going to go to the next statistics. Birth per 1,000 black women from age 15 to 44. And we're going to break it up in demographic year, 1960, 1970, 1980, and 1988. So legally married, 187 births in 1960. 1970, 132.
That's out of 1,000.
That's out of 1,000.
Okay, wow.
Yes, and 1980, that's 98, and 1988, 82 babies. Yes, out of 1,000.
Yeah, that's really sad and baffling. I think about my mom was telling me that my oldest son spoke to her, and he was talking about planning his family in 3 years, and he don't understand. When I heard that, it did my heart so well. The other door, ma'am. Yeah. So I just that's sort of when. So with that being said, my lessons to him, he understood the assignment.
Yes.
And by him being the oldest boy, I just pray that all other three follow suit,
right,
as well as my other kids.
Right.
And if we do that, man, we can do something about these stats right here.
So I'm gonna throw something in the mix. I'm gonna ask: is it necessary to get married if you're not planning to have children, or to make sure you're married before you have children? Which one is important?
Well, it is. So there's a lot of people today. They are partner up and they call themselves life partners.
Right.
They're not married, and people do that when they have a lot to lose. Because people marry for their own reasons.
Right.
But to answer your question, I wanted all my kids to be married before having children.
Right.
You know, but when I think about it, it, you know, that's how my grandparents planned it out to be.
Right.
You know,
right.
so and I didn't follow suit, but I would love for them to, if that's to work out for them, I would love to do it that way.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
So the question is, what was the changes, the big change that prevented a lot of us from following our parents' decisions of being married and then starting a family? What do you think kind of transpired that changed our view that was the most important step, to be married first, have a family, and then get married and then have kids?
Well, clearly in my household, a single parent. You know, my mom, I didn't have that. And if I had it, it was modeled, I would have tried to emulate it. You know, but it wasn't modeled. You know, so for my older kids, you know what I'm saying, I didn't model it. But DJ still, he said, "Hey man, we talked about a lot of things."
Okay.
And it was some hard conversation. I said, "Man, listen, it's supposed to be this way. Don't look at my life and be better than me." You know, and he said, "He got me, Dad." You know,
right.
So I thank him for being open, because he could have easily went out there and had kids by now. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And
I just thank the Lord that he got a good head on his shoulders, and he's planning his life, and he's gonna start a family in 3 years.
Right.
It's a blessing.
So the thing is, no losses, just lessons kind of speak to that cultural perspective as we look over our lives and how we look at our community. So do you see us coming back from that? And before you answer that question, let me give you the last statistic on this page. It says percentage of Black birth to legally unmarried women, Black women, out of 1,000, remember it's 1,000 surveys, so now it's going to be percentage, and it's going to be the 4 years. 1960, remember, is unmarried Black women. It was 23.3 in 1960. In 1970, it was 37.6%. In 1980, 55.2%. And 1988, 61.2%. And sadly, I'd like to add that now to today's statistics from the Brookings Institute says we're approximately between 72 and 73% unmarried and have children in our household.
Okay, now I'm gonna answer that question. The question you asked, do you think we'll make it back as a whole, as a culture?
Right.
And to be honest, I don't, because the masses.
Right.
But that's why we're doing this podcast, so they will see it and try to, it can be a lesson, and they can kind of get things going the right way.
Right.
But I think your children will be fine. My children will be fine.
Right.
My close friends' children will be fine. You know what I'm saying? But the masses, the people, we won't make it back.
And that's true.
Just me expound one more. I want to say one more thing. So that stat right there could be looked upon as a negative, but then you got women today are so empowered. They the ones really want the life partnership, because they may have too much to lose, more so than men.
Sorry, say that again. You saying, what about the life partnership?
Okay,
say that
so
again, please.
Women are so empowered today.
Right.
Where it's not like in the 60s where there was homemakers for real.
Right.
We have a lot of equality today.
Right.
And I'm happy for it. But women today don't really think they need men or need the marriage. It's some that still got them good morals and values from grandma. You know what I'm saying? They still want to be married before they have kids. But I know a lot of women, you know what I'm saying? They just want the kid. They don't want a kid, and if it don't work, we'll have to be married. If we married, like when grandma got married, if it didn't work, it worked.
Okay.
It was no divorce.
Okay.
So they'll get married with intentions on having a great family, but the first time something go wrong, oh no, we good, because they empowered.
Right.
They have their own stuff. They make six figures.
Right.
So you're not gonna bring me down. You're not gonna take what I got. So
Okay.
it's stuff like that.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that in a negative way, because I don't want anybody to stay married that's not happy.
Right.
Because you shouldn't marry for a kid.
Right.
You got to get married because that person completes you, and you can't live without them.
Right.
Through good or bad.
Okay.
And that's gonna be our next segment. Starting on the next time we do a podcast, Love and Marriage. It's gonna be some serious stuff. But we're gonna get back to the stats. Go ahead, Star.
Okay. So I just like to comment on what you're saying. I think the idea of having a marriage have changed. It have changed differently for male and females. We value different things now. And to your point, I will say that role modeling helps us to understand. And if we didn't have those role models, maybe we don't know what we're missing. Maybe we think we are complete with the six-figure jobs and the single parent. However, statistically speaking, across culture, we're not doing so well.
No.
We're not strong, we're not resistant, we're not vibrant. We're the group that leads all the negative indicators, and we're also the group that has the most divided families. So
Right.
So I think both sides, we got to rethink how we're going to go forth if we're going to exist in the future and our children.
So I'm gonna say this real quick.
Okay.
And it's kind of getting ahead. But I got the expound on it right now. So I'm married to Wanza Johnson, and her family dynamic was awesome. Her parents was married, and they go to their mom house every Sunday. Everything that you want, that I kind of grew up in.
Right.
But my mom wasn't married, but it was just perfect. So that was like a great. I wanted to be a part of that family, and I was, and I am.
Right.
But I knew nothing about being married. I knew nothing about being a husband. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and our marriage failed probably because of me. I'm just being honest with you.
Right.
Because I knew nothing about it. So I told DJ, Mike, Mikhail, I said, look, you should not, and Brian and Kelsey, those are my oldest two boys. I said, look, you should not get married if you can't pay every bill in the house.
Right.
Not saying that you have to, but you should be able to.
Right.
As a man. I got married. I didn't have a degree, worked at a gas station. I was playing football at Fort Valley State. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man, that's no way I should have been even considering marrying somebody's daughter.
Right. Okay.
But she was fine, she was beautiful, and man, I just loved her. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be around her all the time. And she had those two boys, Brian and Kelsey. When we married, man, we got there throwing the ball all day. You know what I'm saying? I hadn't had kids yet.
Right.
And they reminded me of my brother and myself.
Right.
And it was awesome. But when you got into the marriage, I knew nothing about it.
Right.
So that's why I had these conversations with my kids.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And if we do that, we can figure it out.
Right.
No losses, just lessons. So I'm kind of getting ahead of, but I had to just expound on that.
No, that was great, because the stats today speaks to all of that. It speaks to that. Maybe that's where a lot of us are weak at. What a good marriage or a real productive marriage look like on both sides. And how you stay together through thick and thin.
Right.
And and the reason why you come together. If you come together for the right reasons, then usually you could stay together.
Right.
And the elders say, start out like you want to end up. So, I think we all can learn something from that. But now they introduce a new word called intersectionality.
Wow.
Okay? So this new word talks about what comes along with being Black in America, what comes along with family dynamics, and what policies are out there that talks about what was the structural systems brought into the marriage. And one of the things that I found out in the Brookings Institute, they talked about first how it always seems to be a underbelly of policies that did not help us in our marriages to stay together. And one of the things that I found out, it was they talked about welfare. And they were really speaking about it in the 1970s.
Right.
They said in the 1970s, because of already past experiences, black people couldn't make enough money to take care of the family. And so there was this system came in called welfare. They stepped in and became the man. And because they stepped in and became the man, they had to excommunicate the husband or the boyfriend from the household.
Guidelines,
And,
Section 8.
Right, okay. And that was true, right?
Yeah,
okay.
it was. So Section 8 is a program they put in place to give women, single parents, assistance.
Right, uh-huh.
But the man can't stay there. He can't have no clothes in the house. And if they come there and they do checks, you have clothes in the house, you lose your Section 8.
That's today?
Today.
Okay, so that was there was a lot of policies, right, that impact the black community. And one of the things about the black community, we have levels, right? We have the successful blacks, we have a little less successful black, and then we have less and less and less, and then we have this huge mass of people who are struggling. And so statistically, they're saying that we're around 30% impoverished compared to white families, which is around 10%. So all of these things have occurred through our own doing and policies. And another thing that if in the 1960s and 70s, when affirmative action came through that was supposed to be a lift up to the black communities, it did not apply. It only helped a very, very few black people. And again, that impacted the families.
Right.
You know, so the black people who it was designed for did not get to use it. So then you talk about the GI Bill, which was back in the 50s and 60s, coming away from the military, from war. They didn't get access of it. So that put another structural system on the families. Yeah. And so all of these things we were exposed to that impact the family negatively, you know, crime, mass incarceration, all of these things that was directly from the government side that impact the families. Now we have to think about the drugs, the really poor schools. And these are not stats that come from the black side. Everyone that have done research on what happened to the black community is still the vestiges of segregation from way back to Jim Crow. So we're structurally being attacked by the government, and then we have our own internal ills. So we have always been able to weather the storm, but when we started losing our families, whether it was through us or governmental, we became very vulnerable, and we're still struggling to come back together. Well, so what do you think about that?
I mean, nothing I can say, because it's accurate. The numbers don't lie, but I really believe that we still can overcome it.
Right.
But, and we will.
Right.
Our kids and the people that watch this podcast, if they can hear it and understand what we're trying to do,
right,
it would be a good start on the right path.
Right.
My college teammate just walked through here. Spark plug, Kendrick Graham. Married with 2 kids. Right. You know, they're on family vacation right now from Alabama. Right. You know what I'm saying? So my close friends, we're going to be fine.
Right.
You know, we're talking about the masses, and it's just hard. I can remember putting my son in private school, and other kids that were in private school from single parents. Right. From single parents. And the private school sector really didn't want to deal with a strong black man that was married. They'd rather deal with a single mom.
Because the system is feminized, right? So the system is prepared to hear my voice, but not prepared to hear your voice.
Right.
And
because in their mind, they can manipulate you, but not me.
Okay, let's say that's true. And because they also know I'm alone.
Come on.
they also know I'm alone, right? Let's say I'm alone and no husband is coming, right? So then they're gonna put.
If you live at Konan BBQ, there you go. Live at Konan BBQ. This is what it is. The podcast. No loss, just lessons.
So we do know institutions behave differently when a black woman comes, and I think one of the myths that we want to believe that there's a such thing as a powerful black woman because she's single. I think that's a myth. I think that's more of a vulnerability for us. We're really powerful when we have our natural mate with us.
Right, because I'm gonna be honest with you, behind every strong man, and I'm not just saying this, stands an even stronger black woman.
No, I believe that.
Or a woman. It don't have to be white or black. Behind every man that's doing something positive.
I agree.
That wife ironing that shirt, talking to him. If he lacking confidence, I got to go on an interview today, baby.
Right.
You got it already.
Right.
That woman is pushing him to start
forward. Right.
And that's not a racial thing.
It's across the board.
Behind every man.
Yes.
Stands an even stronger woman.
Yes.
I really believe that.
And so yes, I agree with that. And so what we're trying to do here today is drop these nuggets, these positive nuggets, to start conversations in the household, right?
Yeah.
And we have to fix us internally because we having a problem with understanding our natural protectors, our natural mates. We're having major problems, and we're trying to find the solutions, and we think the podcast offers us those solutions, and we like to let you know that this is something that we are very candid about. We're trying to make sure we get some positive information out there, and this is educational, so please think about it and let us know.
Give us about 5 seconds, we'll be right back.
Yeah.
And we're back. No losses, just lessons. I was before we went on the last break, I want to tell Saba, I was talking on one of the segments before how my grandmother would sit us down and watch Roots, and she would be the narrator because we were so young that we really couldn't follow it like that. But we got to do the same thing for The Passion of Christ, that movie. I'm just being honest with you. I mean, because if kids can see that and they'll understand what Jesus really did, Mel Gibson did a hell of a job on that movie. I probably watch a movie, to me it's a man movie. I watch it probably once, just like Gladiator.
You said a man?
Yeah, I love it, you know what I'm saying? But in this one part of the movie, he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, and when the three disciples were sleeping and he was crying, he was weeping because he knew what's to come.
Right.
You know? And to know what's to come, know you're gonna be prosecuted and tried and still still bring peace. You know what I'm saying? Still bring peace. And so when I see that movie, man, I'm like, golly, you know, like people think to be a follower of Christ, you got to walk around with a Bible. I said that before. No, you don't. You just got to be a great person and try to help a situation.
Right.
That's it. And I think if they saw that, you know, what he went through for us, it'll make a profound difference. I believe that, man, and I couldn't wait to get on this show to talk about that.
Right.
Please sit down with your kids and watch The Passion of Christ, because we don't go to church the way we used to.
Right.
Because really the church became a business. You know what I'm saying? And so you got to have Bible study in your house with your family and your children.
Right.
So, and if you're doing that, find a program. There's all kind of programs on there, spiritual programs that you can follow in your probably your own home, so your kids still will have that great foundation with Christ. But when you see that movie, Passion of Christ, I promise you, if y'all sit down, there's going to be some parts where you got to probably get some tissue out, because it's rough. Okay. It's brutal. And that's the first time you'll ever see God cry in that movie. Mel Gibson outdid himself. Have you seen The Passion of Christ?
No, I have not.
Saba.
Okay.
You need to watch that movie with your son.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just being honest with you. If you watch it, the next time of a podcast,
Okay.
you'll have something to say about it.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you the part to look for
Okay.
in the movie. So they're crucifying Jesus, and when they they tried him, found him guilty of all
Okay.
counts. The counts they found him guilty of: giving sight to the blind, healing the sick. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
So doing good, right?
You know what I'm saying? But because they couldn't do it, they had a problem with it.
Right.
But so Saba, when they put him on the cross, he had to carry the cross. And Saba, when they brought that cross to him, oh my God, Saba, when you see him embrace that cross, it's like he was a child.
Wow.
It was like, I mean, it was so powerful, that part of the movie.
Right.
You know, and then when they crucified him, and he said, "It is accomplished," and put his hands in his locks of his shoulders, a brisk wind came. And people don't realize this. I'm pretty sure if somebody that saw that movie, it was a teardrop came from the heaven.
Oh, wow.
And when it hit the ground, it just destroyed the temple. When he was found guilty, you know what I'm saying? It was it was so powerful, man. So God is real, and so is Jesus.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if those guys, if people in the world can see that with their children, and then mom and dad can point out certain parts they might not understand, I guarantee you,
Right.
it'll be life changing for them.
So today we want to make sure that we let you know what we were discussing. Our topics today was to give you some real data and to continue our theme that we started out with which is the faith, and that's what Michael just added to it. And we wanted to talk about family dynamics and relationships. And that is actually the core of this podcast to the public, to start conversations, educational and inspirational information. And we all could use more faith in our lives, and it's like everything else, we have to practice it.
Yeah.
We have to believe, and we have to practice it.
That's it. I mean,
yes.
I've been getting phone calls about people that want to come on the podcast with us and share some things.
Right.
How you feel about that? You open for that?
Yeah, I think we should have a conversation, hear what people have to say, you know, and so, because we're all about learning, right?
Right.
We're all about learning. Yes, we should make sure we bring the right people on so we can give the right lessons.
Exactly.
You know?
I'm with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's going to conclude our show for today.
Yes.
No losses, just lessons.
Yes.
Mike Trigg.
Saba Baptiste.
God bless.
Yes.
Yo.
See you later, Tampa and
All right.
beyond.
All right.
Out.